शिव संस्कार र प्रविधि सहितको व्यवहारिक शिक्षालाई आत्मसात गर्दै बाल शिक्षण सिकाइ क्रियाकलापलाई प्रभावकारी ढङ्गबाट अगाडि बढाइरहेका छौँ। हाम्रा नानी बाबुहरूले आफूले नबुझेका कुरा बिना हिचकिचाहट सोध्न सक्ने, प्रश्न गर्न सक्ने र आफूले बुझेका, जानेका र सुनेका कुराहरूलाई अरू समक्ष निर्धक्कका साथ अभिव्यक्त गर्न सक्ने, आधार खडा गर्ने गरी अभिव्यक्त गर्न सक्ने सिपलाई चाहिँ हामीले अगाडि बढाइरहेका छौँ। हौसला, उत्प्रेरणा र जिज्ञासु स्वभावका हाम्रा नानी बाबुहरूलाई यो 21औं शताब्दी सुहाउँदो शिक्षामा कसरी चाहिँ अगाडि बढाउन सकिन्छ भन्ने कुरामा हाम्रो विद्यालयको नेसनल मोडल साइन्स स्कुल द नाम्स विद्यालयको चाहिँ शिक्षण सिकाइ क्रियाकलापहरू अगाडि बढिरहेका छन्।
मलाई जन्म दिने आमा बुबा, सिकाउने शिष्य शिक्षिका र नेपाली हुनुमा सधैँ गर्व लाग्छ। म एक असल नागरिक बनी राष्ट्रको सेवा गर्न सकूँ। धन्यवाद। गुड आफ्टरनुन रेस्पेक्टेड प्रिन्सिपल, वाइस प्रिन्सिपल, QC हेड, कोअर्डिनेटर, टिचर, my dear friends and my lovely parents. We would like to welcome you on today's presentation. I Sam Mandari here with my friend to present contemporary event of Russia and Ukraine. Before we begin our presentation, let me introduce our team member here. We have Mr. Safal Thapa, Mr. Sandesh Banjara, Mr. Samit Raj Shrestha, Mrs. Anamika Awaiba, Mr. Mahesh Subedi, and Mr. Abhijit Paudel. To carry out the presentation forward, I like to call Safal Thapa here. Thank you.
Today I am here to present on the topic of Russia and Ukraine war, and my soft topic is what is peace and why war happens. Peace is a stress-free state of security and calmness that comes when there is no fighting, no war, everything coexisting in perfect harmony and freedom. In our war-torn world, it seems like there is not nearly enough peace. However, peace can be big and small in our entire country or brief movements. Sweden has avoided war since 1814 and enjoys the peace that the lack of conflict brings. When you feel at peace, you are the content to be the person, you are the flaws and everything. There are 4 types of wars: economic gain, territorial gain, and nationalism. Economic gain: often wars are caused by one countries which to take control by another countries. With whatever the other reasons for a way may be, there is very often an economic motivate underlying the most conflict. Even if the started aim of the aim is presented to the public as something more noble. Thank you. For the further explanation, I would like to call my friend Mr. Sandesh Banjara.
Thank you so far for calling me here. And it's good afternoon everybody. It's me Sandesh Banjara from class 9, and today I am here to present about my topic, Russia and Ukraine war. So in the past days you have been hearing about Russia and Ukraine war, haven't you? You have, right? So did you know that they were the same part of the country, USSR, Union of Soviet Socialist Republic, which was formed in December 13, 1922 AD and was disintegrated in 1991 AD, which lasted for 69 years. So it was made up of 4 republics at first, which were Belarusian, Caucasian, Russian, and Ukrainian, but later was expanded into 15 different nations, including countries like Armenia, Kazakhstan, and Uzbekistan. So how did the most powerful nation at that time fell down? So it all started in 1985, where Mikhail Gorbachev got elected for president, and he tried to bring some rules, which are Perestroika and Glasnost. So Perestroika refers to the 1980s economic and political reforms to the Soviet Union, which meant to kickstart 1980s economic of Soviet Union. And another one is Glasnost. Glasnost refers to the open discussion about social and political issues, which was instituted by Gorbachev. Now, another is Western aggression. So, when Ronald Reagan entered the White House, he had a great intention against USSR. Due to his good leadership, USSR had military power of USA was greatly increased. So, due to that, USSR was it was a threat to the USSR. Another is nationalist movement. Nationalist movement USSR was made up of 15 different republics at that time. So, and only Russian language was the official language, which led to massive nationalist movement over Ukrainian split. So Ukraine successfully split from Russia in 24 August 1991 AD, and it was no longer the part of USSR, and it was an independent country where it no longer followed the rule of USSR and followed the rule of Ukrainian SSR. Thank you. And I like to call my friend Swami Shrestha here.
Thank you, my friend Sandesh Banjara, for calling me here. Good afternoon, everyone. It's me, Swami Shrestha, from grade 9. Today, I am here to present on the topic of influences of NATO in this war. So, first of all, NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, was signed on April 4, 1949. It worked in conjunction with the World Bank, the United States, and the International Monetary Fund. There were 12 nations: Denmark, United States, Canada, France, etc. Signed in Washington, D.C. What are the influences of NATO in this war? NATO is at the center of this conflict. The president of Russia has always disowned this organization, considering that it poses a threat to his security. But why does Russia always want to do anything in its power to prevent Ukraine from being part of NATO? NATO was created in 1949 with the purpose of preventing expansion of Soviet Union from the European countries. The Soviet Union collapsed in 1991. At that time, Russia claims that President Gorbachev was promised by US that NATO would not move to the east. Instead, several countries joined NATO, such as Poland, Romania, etc. So currently the organization has a total of 30 countries. For the more information, I would like to call Ms. Anamika here. Thank you.
Thank you, Swami Shrestha. UN says more than 10 million people has been displaced by the conflict, while casualty figures out unknown. Good afternoon and warm welcome to everyone, all of you people here. I am Anamika Weva from Gate 9, and I am here to present on the subtopic contemporary event Russia and Ukraine. Russia invaded Ukraine on 24th February 2022. We all know how this is affecting underdeveloping or developing countries in all many ways. This has been highly influenced by Ukraine trying to join NATO. Internationally considered a war of aggression, the invasion is the largest conventional military attack on a European state since World War II. Russia launched a full-scale attack on from multiple directions to the Ukraine. In response, NATO deployed troops to member states in the region, while tens of thousands of Ukrainians fled the country, and others took up arms against Russian soldiers. As people took the streets across Russia to protest President Vladimir Putin's invasion, the EU, US, and allied countries introduced sanctions. Thank you for further explanation. I would like to call my friend Moish Subedi.
The war will end, the leaders will shake hands. यो युद्ध समाप्त हुनेछ र नेताहरूले आफ्नो हात मिलाउनेछन्. The world woman will wait for her martyred son. ती बुढी आमा आफ्नो शहीद छोराको पर्खाइमा बसिरहनेछिन्. That girl will wait for her beloved husband. ती प्रेमिका आफ्नो प्रेमीको पर्खाइमा बसिरहनेछिन्. Those children will wait for their heroic father. ती ससाना बालकहरू आफ्नो नायक पिताको पर्खाइमा बसिरहनेछिन्. I don't know who sold our homeland, but I saw who paid the price for it. मलाई थाहा छैन मेरो मातृभूमि, मेरो जन्मभूमिलाई कसले बेच्यो भनेर, तर मलाई अवश्य थाहा छ यसको मूल्य कसले तिर्यो भनेर. Hamre soldiers, our soldiers. And warm good afternoon to everyone present here. It's me, Mahesh Swedi, and today I will be presenting on the topic of impacts of Russia-Ukraine war. So, as you can see, these two guys are the president of those both countries, Ukraine and Russia, in which the war is happening right now. Here, there is Vladimir Putin and he is Volodymyr Zelensky. And you can see this picture. Here is the picture of a mother breastfeeding her child despite having a lot of wounds, despite being injured, Like she is the representative of what the common people or the individual needs to go through during the time of war. उहाँ केवल एक प्रतिनिधित्व मात्र हुनुहुन्छ. Like the consequences of this war are far beyond this. So if we look at the history books or if we go through any type of history books and study about the war, then the main problem that war causes is the humanitarian crisis, अर्थात मानवीय संकट. So what's happening in Ukraine and Russia right now? Let's discuss about that. The humanitarian crisis in Ukraine is accelerating, and this escalation of the conflict has caused civilian destruction, caused civilian casualties, and has led many people to flee their own country seeking for safety, protection, and assistance. And similarly, according to the United Nations, 3.7 million people has already left their country as a refugee. And estimates and analysis also say that if there are no peace negotiations as quick as possible, then the number of refugees is sure to rise in the upcoming days. And so this was the humanitarian crisis, one of the impacts of Russia-Ukraine war. Now let's talk about next impact. See, this is the picture of before and after of the capital Kyiv of Ukraine. And here you can see the beautiful structure has been destructed by the relentless bombardment by the Russia and has bring a chaotic situation. So now moving to the next slide. This is also one of the before and after picture where there is shown the destruction happening in Ukraine right now. So the oil price has also been highly affected by this Russia-Ukraine war. As Russia is the second largest exporter of oil, and with their inability to export these petroleum products, it has created a great supply. It has created a great gap in the global market supply chain. And similarly, oil prices are high as Russia's Ukraine over Ukraine has led to sanctions over Russia Federation, cutting Russia from the global supply chain of petroleum products. And at the end of the February, the price of Brent crude oil reached US $139, which was highest since 2008 AD. And estimates also say that the price of Brent crude oil may reach to $189 if the war is not stopped soon. And similarly, Europe's reliance on Russia has also declared this war as fossil fuel war, as these both countries are unable to export these petroleum products. So moving towards the next slide. So there is a great problem in the food supply as well. Russia and Ukraine cover about 20% of the total international trade of food. They supply the foods like wheat, corn, and sunflowers. And with their inability to export these things, it has created a great crisis in this global market also. And next one is shortage of semiconductor chips. Russia exports rare materials like palladium, which is used to make the semiconductor chip like semiconductor chips. And Ukraine also exports rare gas, which is used in the construction of fab lasers. And with their inability to export these things, it has also, like the global chip crisis has also been introduced by this war. So now let's talk about the impacts of Russia-Ukraine war in Nepal. What are the impacts that Nepal is facing due to this current war? As we all know that the price of petrol, diesel or kerosene or any other petroleum products has reached its high or peak due to this Russia-Ukraine war. Nepalese are now paying rupees 155 for every liter of petrol and 138 for every liter of kerosene and diesel. And due to this, NOC Nepal Oil Corporation has released a report saying that it has lost $5 billion rupees due to this war. So now this was all about the impacts of Russia-Ukraine war. Now to conclude this presentation, I would like to call my friend Abhijit Paudel. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mohesh Subedi, for calling me. So, good afternoon, everyone. As you know, my friend Mohesh Subedi says something about impact of Russia and Ukraine war. So, I'm going to tell why we need peace and why we need to stop this war. So, peace has become even more important in recent time. Death from violent crime have continued to increase over the decade, and the like good power struggle between major world power are at this. The most likely point since in the Cold War. In addition, terrorism has separated two more countries and battle related deaths have been increasing. Almost 80 million people can be considered refugee feeling from their countries because of the lack of peace surrounding their home. Just to give an example, according to the United Nations, the number of civilians who died in Russia and Ukraine war is about 1,000. So how can society try to make the life of peace member better under these circumstances? Far from being just statics in my arms conflict are people. They are a member of society. They are the member of society fulfilling role must need like doctor, teachers, and many others. A society is losing a key member or gets group individual in systems. One is most responsible for this current scenario. So without peace, no nation and no individual can move forward. अब शान्ति भएन भने चाहिँ अब राज्य र केही पनि अगाडिहरू बढ्न सक्दैन. In only peaceful atmosphere, mankind can secure. With peace, we can make our nation and society a better place to live. Without peace, achieving political strength, cultural growth, and economic stability will be impossible. अब शान्ति भएन भने चाहिँ राजनीतिक शक्ति, पोलिटिकल स्ट्रेन्थ र कल्चरल ग्रोथहरू पाउन चाहिँ असम्भवै हुन्छ. So we need to stop this war because this war shattered many lives of many people. Not only Ukraine, many more countries will affect because of this war. So thank you. So now I like to call my friend Mohesh Subedi.
The more we sweat in peace, the less we bleed in war. हामीले शान्ति र समृद्धिमा जति धेरै पसिना बगायौँ त्यति थोरै हामीले रगत बगाउनु पर्छ युद्धमा. As my friend has already described about the importance of peace and why this war needs to be stopped, and so at the end of this presentation, let's hope for the best of these two countries. Let's hope for peace between these both countries, and let's hope for negotiations. Let's take some vital steps. Let's take some awareness steps to prevent this war. So, and at last, our whole team would like to thank to the whole school administration and our facilitator teacher, Mr. Raju Paudel sir and Pradeep sir for helping us to make this project possible. And so this was all our presentation. Thank you.
शिव संस्कार र प्रविधि सहितको व्यवहारिक शिक्षालाई आत्मसात गर्दै बाल शिक्षण सिकाइ क्रियाकलापलाई प्रभावकारी ढङ्गबाट अगाडि बढाइरहेका छौँ. हाम्रा नानी बाबुहरूले आफूले नबुझेका कुरा बिना हिचकिचाहट सोध्न सक्ने, प्रश्न गर्न सक्ने र आफूले बुझेका, जानेका र सुनेका कुराहरूलाई अरू समक्ष निर्धक्कका साथ अभिव्यक्त गर्न सक्ने, आधार खडा गर्ने गरी अभिव्यक्त गर्न सक्ने सिपलाई चाहिँ हामीले अगाडि बढाइरहेका छौँ. हौसला, उत्प्रेरणा र जिज्ञासु स्वभावका हाम्रा नानी बाबुहरूलाई यो 21औं शताब्दी सुहाउँदो शिक्षामा कसरी चाहिँ अगाडि बढाउन सकिन्छ भन्ने कुरामा हाम्रो विद्यालयको नेसनल मोडल साइन्स स्कुल द नाम्स विद्यालयको चाहिँ शिक्षण सिकाइ क्रियाकलापहरू अगाडि बढिरहेका छन्.